What's up, fuckers? It's tea time. The Trump plague is the latest virus to storm through America, just like the MAGA mob stormed through the Capitol. But it's not the only plague out there. Okay, fuckers, we're playing a game. Pandemics for 500, Alex. The virus that started the pandemic, that wasn't taken seriously by a former president, that's killed a lot of people, received the nickname blank plague. What is gay plague? How many of you said China plague? No, we aren't talking about Trump and COVID. We're talking about Reagan and HIV. And in 2021, HIV is still one of the largest epidemics in the world. HIV is the human immunodeficiency virus, which is the same virus that can lead to AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. More than 700,000 Americans have died of AIDS in the United States since the beginning of the HIV epidemic that started about 40 years ago this year. In less than a year, over 475,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. Talk about an overachiever. COVID's as busy as Lauren Boebert on Twitter during the Capitol attack. COVID-19 is that fucking kid at school that's like, wait, you forgot to collect our homework from last night. That kid that cries and tries to negotiate up a grade of 99 with the teacher after class. In less than a year, COVID has almost killed as many Americans as AIDS has in 4 decades. 4 decades! That's how long Trump should have been sentenced to in prison. That's technically a life sentence for him, right? Or wait, how long do you live after you sell your soul to the devil? Where's Mitch McConnell? He'll know. Mitch? Oh, Lindsey Graham, I'm sorry. But COVID-19's no worse than the flu, right? You don't need that mask. Matter of fact, you don't even need that condom. Whether the P in PPE stands for personal or penis, who needs it? It's a free country, and the last thing that we would want to ever do is infringe on your constitutional rights with face diapers or cumbrellas. Ronald Reagan presided over 89,000 deaths to AIDS and did nothing. Everyone in the GOP was so focused on the second coming of Christ, they completely missed the second coming of Ronald Reagan. Donald saw Ronald and said, "Here, hold my bleach." Trump presided over 400,000 deaths to COVID and did nothing. Turns out, Donald is actually just short for Doomsday Ronald. In 1982, Larry Speakes, press secretary for Reagan, laughed when asked about whether the president was tracking the spread of AIDS. The AIDS epidemic brought more stigmatization of gay men than anything else in the history of gay life in America. 3 years into the epidemic, there were over 7,000 reported AIDS cases and almost 6,000 deaths, which is so unbelievably frustrating because if they weren't testing for HIV, there would be less cases. Everyone knows that. But can you imagine Trump in a candy striper outfit, shining UV flashlights and passing out cups of bleach to patients in the 80s? That's cute, but unfortunately, you need an AIDS cocktail and not a Clorox cocktail. And Trump is far too homophobic to help gays. It's even more unfortunate that AIDS cocktails didn't exist back then, but homophobia definitely did. At the beginning of the epidemic, in many countries, gay men were singled out for abuse as they were seen to be responsible for the transmission of HIV. Hearing things like gay plague and other homophobic headlines fueled hate crimes and negative stigmas to gay men. Not at all unlike hearing Donald Reagan spew things like China plague or China virus from that orange orifice on his repugnant face. Xenophobia is on the rise in the midst of this pandemic, just like homophobia in the HIV epidemic. According to Stop AAPI Hate, which stands for Asian American Pacific Islander, there have been over 2,800 incidents of anti-Asian discrimination in the United States from the beginning of the pandemic to the end of 2020. Another organization called Asian Americans Advancing Justice has recorded about 3,000 hate crimes since April last year. Statistics from the FBI show that hate crimes against Muslims have jumped in the years after the terrorist attack on 9/11. Homophobia, xenophobia, and Islamophobia, they come from the right, and the right are the ones who attacked the nation's capital. Ironically, I doubt there will be a rise in violence towards Christians in this country after this attack. You know, because 43 Republican senators thought what Doomsday Reagan said and did was totally fine. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me may be the fakest news since Doomsday Ronald. Your words matter. The things you say can hurt others and even incite violence, like attacks on gays, Asians, or even the nation's capital. Empathy can help you choose your words carefully. So remember that despite what you put up your butt or the color of your butt, we're all human. We all deserve empathy and basic human rights. Those things should never be up for debate. Something else that shouldn't be up for debate? Accountability for violence. The Trump plague is a virus that has been with us for years, and it's just as deadly as HIV and COVID. Viruses don't really have any redeeming qualities, but unlike humans, they don't discriminate. AIDS doesn't just infect gays, and COVID isn't just spread by Asians. Fear comes from lack of knowledge. Forgive me, but I'm about to quote Yoda from Star Wars. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. This country is filled with fear, anger, hate, and suffering, and it doesn't have to be. We clearly haven't learned from our mistakes because history is continuously repeating itself in one way or another. We're living the modern day Reagan AIDS era as we speak. We're living in a modern day Civil War era. We're reliving the KKK era. Donald Trump embodies the worst parts of history and combines them all together and wreaks havoc on our republic. He should have been held accountable and convicted for his words and actions on January 6th. We should have sent a message that his behavior is not acceptable. But now he will continue to operate like a phantom president, controlling the minds of his mob, spreading through the country like a virus, replicating and infecting generations to come. Now he'll have another chance to run in 2024, and if he wins, we lose. I want everybody to have a great fucking day unless you didn't want Donald Trump convicted today.